Josina Anderson, your last thing, Steve. Josina Anderson.
She's not happy. Oh.
Yeah, she came out and said basically that I am disappointed to hear that a quarterback's coach from a team drafting in the top 7 referred to Shedeur Sanders as coming off brash and arrogant in his team interview and making his assessment known to a number of people per source. We don't know the source. I'm purposely not naming the team, of course, Smitty's point, as not to directly call the team out. I'm just sharing that this coach's personal assessment is the direct opposite from how Sanders came across to many reporters in his press conference with the media at the Combine. Sanders appeared to go out of his way to acknowledge multiple media members, regardless if they were recognizable or not. He seemed cordial, polite, witty, thoughtful, along with being confident, as many athletes are, especially during the Combine. Alternately, these observations were distinctly different from how another quarterback prospect came off to some in the media last year in Indy, end quote. So Josina Anderson wrote all this. Smitty says it all the time. I'm not going to bash a kid for off the field that I don't know. I don't know anything about Shedeur personally. I know about I just judge him off the quarterback position. I think he should have thrown. That's just me because I'm a quarterback. I think we throw. That's what we do. But all the other shit, all the other noise, I don't know nothing about. I'm not going to sit here and judge the kid. I think what I think, and this point right here, we see this every year, Steve. We've seen this for years and years and years, people digging up shit to find a reason why to whatever. Merrill Hodge has been calling it out for years. We've seen all these different people. Where are you at with Josina's comments?
I get where she's coming from, but look, a player will act a certain way in front of the media than they will behind closed doors. Josina, right, you were there maybe during the media scrums. I don't know if you were or not, but I'm assuming you've been in media scrums and guys put on their best face. But I've actually seen these videos of these meetings that happen during the Combine, okay? The Detroit Lions did some great videos where they actually talked about the whole process with Brad Holmes. And these things are pretty serious. They ask you, let's go through a concept, drop a concept. What do you think about this play? What's your favorite personnel package? This particular play, what were you thinking? Good and bad. Okay, Brad Kaya talked to me about his meeting that he had with a few teams during his process. It's pretty interesting what goes on. And to think that you're not going to be any different from that setting to being in front of the media where these guys are really, a lot of these guys are media savvy. I don't know what the problem is. If the quarterback coach did not like Shedeur Sanders, that is his right. I don't get it. I mean, so you're upset at someone for their own opinion. Well, Josina, a lot of people may not like yours. I mean, you have to,
we said that as a quote of the day yesterday. We said you have the right to an opinion, but you do not have the right to tell me what my opinion should be.
Right.
Here's the thing I gotta say. I like a brash quarterback. If I'm coaching him, I want a little shit on his neck. I want him to be a little nasty. I want him to have an asshole in him. I want him to be that guy because that quarterback position is just different. I want him to be a little brash. And my number one. If I'm grading Shedeur Sanders, my number one, my highest grade for him would be the ability to get up when he gets knocked down. So I grade toughness. I think the kid showed that he could take a shot or two or 152 in his case and get up. I love that about him. I said that about Patrick Mahomes. I love to see tough quarterbacks, period. I think Shedeur's a tough quarterback.
Well,
I will give him that.
If you go back to the quarterbacks that had real character concerns, Johnny Manziel was one of them, right? Ryan Leaf, there were rumors way back when. Guess what? They were true. So there's always this thing about it's like this. I don't want to say it's like a political campaign, but there's a character assassination that might go on. And then those on that side, on that camp, will then play, no. Our guy's a Boy Scout. He's one of the greatest human beings ever. Okay. You don't think there were concerns about Jamarcus Russell? How'd that work out? Were people slandering Jamarcus or were they just observing? I really don't think a quarterback coach, who most people would not know, would wake up and say, no, I want to smear Shedeur. it's going to hurt them. Why?
And just to finish Shedeur on this side, here's the other reason why I've had these conversations with a lot of guys, especially a good friend of mine, T. Martin, who's Lamar's coach right now, and other guys that are coaching right now who recruited Lamar in college. And I'm like, who's actually with Bill Belichick now in North Carolina. The issue is there's a lot of quarterback coaches in the league, Steve, that absolutely should never be coaching quarterbacks. And that's a problem I have as a quarterback guy. I'm sitting here like, hold on, you hired a tight end guy to fucking coach Lamar Jackson. They actually hired a wideout coach from Florida to coach Lamar his first 5 years. And then they hired T, who's a quarterback, and then Lamar actually has gotten better. There's guys that just hire guys within the circle because they're comfortable with them. And Harbaugh did that in his early years there with Lamar. They hire these guys that should never fuck. Dan Hawkins interviewed me to coach quarterbacks when Darren Hagan was at Colorado. I had a #1 player in the country, Akeem Ayers, who ended up going to UCLA, and they wanted him. So obviously, I think I got a token interview. But Darren was one of my best friends, and I get the interview with Dan Hawkins, who I've known for a long time. And he ends up hiring a 71-year-old high school guy that was his coach in high school out of Sacramento. And I'm sitting there like, and they were horrific the next year. And his son happened to be quarterback.
Cody Hawkins.
Cody Hawkins. So it was like I know the business and I know why they hire these guys. And Shaun King and I talk about it all the time. Like, so I don't know who it was, and that's why I want to know who this quarterback coach is. Is this some fucking O-line guy now coaching QBs? Or that's all I'm saying. And I see it a lot. And I'm
right.
like,
So, I mean, look, let's not act like Shedeur Sanders is the cleanest prospect ever in terms of whatever questions people have. But they're allowed to have questions. It's a process. By the way, the greatest thing Dan Hawkins ever says, this ain't intramurals, brother. That's one of the funniest lines ever. Smitty, you got to look up Dan Hawkins soundbite.
Okay.
It's one of the funniest things ever because he basically told a parent, shut up. Either you want to do this or you got to just look up Dan Hawkins soundbite, and the kicker is, this ain't intramurals, brother.
I'm going to add to my list.